So it looks like premium in Battlefield 5 is gone for good. And I've seen nothing but praise from the bigger influencers in our community claiming how good and progressive this is for the franchise. Yeah, sure, they have one undeniable fact that the community will never be split if you remove the premium pass, which is good, but it's something I'm willing to sacrifice if it means more content. And that's one thing everyone seems to skip over, and that's the content we're going to have. One of the best things about Premium was that you were assured that you will be getting a set amount of content. You pay up front with the promise that you'll receive an X amount of maps, weapons, and exclusive things and support over the next year or so. You know that no matter how the game will perform and how strong the player base is, you'll get your content at the end of the day. When you remove the Season Pass model in favor of a free DLC model, you open up a lot of doors, both good and bad. Mostly bad. At first glance, it's the best thing imaginable. Your favorite game is going to have free content and microtransactions released that doesn't affect gameplay and is purely cosmetic, and you have no loot boxes, as with the case in Battlefield 5. You're blinded by the fact that you'll get free content and that you can optionally support the game by buying cosmetic microtransactions. Sounds really good, right? This is where most people stop and don't look any further to see the repercussions and horrible business practices that may ensue. One of the main issues that we have here is that EA and DICE don't have to give us content, nor do they have to tell us how much content they're going to make. If the player base doesn't buy enough of these microtransactions to pay the developers, why should they waste their time and money working for nothing in return? Just look at Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game just left in the dust and completely abandoned at this point. And for anyone arguing that the developers were working on a new progression system, just stop. Level designers don't work on progression. Different people work on different things. Not to mention that most of the quote-unquote free content that they're getting is just ports. Realistically, even if DICE and EA got the money they needed, you're looking at maybe 4 maps a year. One for each season, or what they're calling Tides of War nowadays. Take the French DLC from Battlefield 1 and split its content across the portion of a year. That's what we're looking at for Battlefield 5. Another thing worth noting is how they're going to fund their microtransactions. There are no loot boxes, so the whole wasting money for a chance to get something is out of the window, thank God. But prepare to empty your wallets for the best of the best looking skins. An estimate of, let's say $10 to $20 for a top tier skin. Also prepare for a lot of rehashes of the same skin and items, just switching up the color palette for a quarter of the price. You could say this system is similar to Fortnite, but in my opinion, it's worse. Speaking of Fortnite, you might say, but look at Fortnite. They handle their microtransactions well. Yeah, their model works perfectly. However, it only works because it's the biggest game on the planet right now, and is set in a world where you have artistic freedom and is much less graphically demanding. A skin made in Fortnite is going to require less work overall, and they also have much more freedom in their choice of skins. Battlefield 5 skins will require much more work to put out, and they are limited to their World War II setting. You're not going to see Thanos or a Flash ripoff in Battlefield 5. Well, at least I hope. It's 2018, you never know these days. But still, the creative freedom that much more popular games have does not exist for Battlefield. Battlefield 5 is going to need to pull off some really damn good cosmetic items to warrant players to buy them. You can bet that if EA isn't getting what they need, support for this game is going to drop, and we're going to have another Battlefront 2 scenario on our hands. You also have to keep in mind that if EA and DICE do not capture the player base at launch, their whole live service system is most likely going to go down the drain. Players are already losing interest in Battlefield 5 based on the reveal alone, and if they don't wow us in the coming months or at launch, then a large portion of their potential revenue is going down the drain. If you're abandoning the Season Pass model for a live service and MTX funded game, do it right. Provide cosmetic items actually worth the money and that doesn't break the setting of the game. Don't introduce shady business practices and screw over your player base. If EA can pull off this live service model reasonably with no downsides, then all power to it and death to Premium. If they don't, and I'm leaning towards this, then prepare for a very mediocre post-launch support. I'm still skeptical since, after all, this is EA we're talking about, so fingers crossed that they can pull this off. Let me know what you think of the removal of premium in Battlefield 5 and the introduction of a MTX-funded live service model in the comments down below. And as always, it's been BloodHound, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.